right, comes baseline, goes hard, feeds to Poole in the corner, takes the three, got it! In the left corner, right in front of the Wolves bench. Warriors up by 2, 96-94 with a minute 25 to go.
Yeah, things were looking good at that point for the Warriors. Jordan Poole with that three-pointer, and it looked like the Warriors were going to pull out another one on the Chase Center hardwood, but they blew it flat out down the stretch in this one. No other way around it. They threw the game right to the Minnesota Timberwolves. From that point on, Jordan Poole makes that three with 1:28 to go, and the Timberwolves are able to score the final 5, and the Warriors turned it over a couple of times. Also took a bad shot in a night where the Warriors took a lot of bad shots, and I think you could make the case missed an opportunity even in the third quarter to be ahead by a significant enough margin to where it maybe doesn't even come down to the fourth quarter, where the Warriors wind up getting outscored and get outscored in the second half as well. Fourth quarter, the Warriors actually won, but the third quarter really was the difference in the game. 24-18 and just the 41 points scored in the second half. We welcome you inside Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. It's John Dickinson with you inside Chase Center, where the Warriors lose to the Timberwolves. 99-96 is the final. That is the third fewest points that the Warriors have scored in any game this season. It is the lowest scoring output that the Warriors have had in any home game this season. And the Timberwolves, good defensive team, but the Warriors impatient tonight, top to bottom, as far as the offense goes. And they were making just enough threes to hang in the game for a good chunk of the game. Ended up 15 of 40 on the night, but 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter. The Timberwolves controlled the glass in this game, had some extra opportunities and possessions there. Naz Reid really hurt the Warriors. Again, Karl-Anthony Towns, the big 3 off the Draymond turnover. And the Warriors now, I think you could make the case, if they had a mulligan, if they had any little margin for error as far as avoiding the play-in tournament versus being a top 6 team or a 4, 5, 6 team in the Western Conference, it's gone with the defeat in this one tonight. All right, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570, as it is Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. A lot to get into. We're going to keep this thing rolling all the way up until 10 o'clock tonight here from inside Chase Center, as the Warriors fall now to 39-37. Let's just get right into the meat and potatoes, and we'll work our way outward. This game came down to whether it should have or not, the final 3 minutes, with Klay Thompson putting the Warriors ahead with 2:47 to go, hit a three-pointer, 92-91 at that point, and the Warriors with just a series of 4 or 5 different miscues in the final 3 minutes that all proved to be the difference in a game where maybe they could have been ahead, as I mentioned, by a little bit more sooner than they were. But it really started in the final 3 minutes with Steph Curry off a Kyle Anderson lost ball turnover, missing a layup, and the Warriors botching what easily could have been a 3-on-1 break. And Curry ends up driving it to the basket, misses the layup, and the Warriors with an opportunity at that point to go up by 3. They don't. They wind up getting another stop at that point, and Kevon Looney ended up going to the free throw line, and Kevon Looney split the pair at the free throw line. So, all right, Kevon Looney, not a great free throw shooter, splitting the pair. That's probably what would be expected at that point. 2:03 to go. Warriors are up 2 at that point. Karl-Anthony Towns ends up hitting a 3 that puts Minnesota up with 1:49 to go by 1. And then Jordan Poole answers with a 3 to put the Warriors back in front by 2. Back and forth we go. And the Warriors able to force another miss in the final minute. And the Warriors have the ball. And here is another miscue. Jordan Poole, step back, 28-foot, heat check. Ball didn't move at all. And Warriors didn't even try to run a play. The shot misses, and the Timberwolves end up with a chance back the other way. Rudy Gobert ended up getting fouled, going to the free throw line, and split the pair himself. So now the Timberwolves are in a situation where they have to foul. So all told, the Curry missed layup, the Warriors have been able to overcome that. The Jordan Poole step back three, the Warriors have been able to overcome that at this point. And then Gobert goes to the free throw line, splits a pair, Warriors up one at that point. And then all they have to do is hold the ball with the Timberwolves having a foul to give, and Draymond Green, rather than just hang on to the ball with the Timberwolves trying to foul. Mike Conley even had his hands in the air thinking he had fouled Steph Curry, was looking at the ref like, hey, why didn't you call it? The ball finds Draymond's hands. Draymond tries to whip a pass, hot potato style, to get rid of it. It gets turned over. Kyle Anderson with the steal. He kicks it to Towns. Towns hits a three, and all of a sudden the Warriors are down two at that point. Jordan Poole throws the ball away with the Warriors trying to force a tie. They then still get another break, and Jaden McDaniels missing one of two free throws, but Steph Curry, a tough corner three-point attempt that comes up short, and the Warriors wind up losing this game by three. But the Curry missed layup on the fast break, the heat check three by Poole, the Draymond turnover when all he had to do was hold it, and the Timberwolves were trying to foul. Just catastrophic, bone-crushing mistakes to where if the Warriors don't make those mistakes, they probably eke out a victory, and we're having a completely different conversation tonight here on Warriors Wrap-Up with the Warriors. Essentially, I think tonight, and we'll get into the standings and all of that. We've got a lot of people that want to talk on the phone lines, 888-957-9570. We'll get to the calls here in just a second. But the Warriors were on track for some serious momentum and having a shot at maybe the 4 seed. I think the 4 seed probably went by the wayside with the loss tonight, and now Phoenix hanging on to 4. The Clippers, who have the tiebreaker over the Warriors, slip back into 5th. And now I think it really becomes make sure you don't fall into the play-in tournament. And tonight, Minnesota, team directly beneath you. The Pelicans, the team directly beneath them, are coming in on Tuesday after they go play in Portland. So they're probably going to get another win between now and when they're at Chase Center. And I think now it's just, if you're the Warriors, you got to make sure you win every home game you have remaining. No more mulligans there, and stave off those that are coming for the guaranteed spot in the playoff bracket as a 6 seed and avoid that play-in tournament altogether. So 888-957-9570, the 9-game home winning streak for the Warriors is over. They lose for just the 8th time on the home floor in 38 games. But this one, without a doubt, stings here as the Warriors now fall to just 2 games over 500 at 39-37. Before we get to the calls, let's go ahead and pause for our ID here if we didn't get in before the top of the show on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
All right, John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up. Let's get to the phones, 888-957-9570. We start with Armand in San Jose. Armand, you are tipping us off here. What's going on tonight, Armand?
Hey, what's up, JD? So I guess the fans are right when they say Steph Curry don't get no calls. It's Connolly thought he fouled him and they didn't call it. But, JD, this was a night of just dumb basketball execution down the stretch. You mentioned the layup that Steph Curry missed. I thought on that 3-on-1 break, he should have passed it up to Klay Thompson. He probably had a better angle for a layup. But if you're going to take that, you got to make it. He had a bad shooting game. Probably rushed a few shots that he had open. It happens, but you got to be better as a star. I also thought on that last possession he had the ball, he shouldn't have passed it to Dre. I would have kept dribbling. You're the best ball handler, shooter, free throw shooter on the team. I need you. And one of the things that makes me sick about this team is that there seems to be a problem with late game execution at times with Steph Curry having the ball. He's the best player on the team. It's got to be easier for him to control the outcome. It's too many times I'm seeing other guys with the ball in their hands. Draymond Green, you know what? You're better off getting fouled and going to the free throw line. I'm tired of him being scared of the ball, giving it up so fast. I would much rather just hold that ball like you said, get fouled, make 1 or 2, make both. How about that? Then Jordan Poole, you know what, JD? How many times do we have to see this guy with the ball in his hands late in the game and mess up? we had a stretch of 3 home games, in January, whatever it is. He catch, flip, and turn it over. And it's just like, at some point in time, like, why is he taking that shot for 3? I'm sitting up there thinking to myself, shouldn't Steph Curry have the ball in that situation? They weren't, if I remember right, they weren't pressed up on Steph Curry, so it wasn't like he was being denied the ball. It's just Jordan Poole had the ball. He's got the freedom. He made the last 3, and he does a wide open step back there. Why are you doing a wide open step back 3? You can't do a step in 3? Or how about a step in 2? The bottom line is Steph Curry should have had the ball. You are the point guard. You make the decisions. You control the outcome. This makes me sick about this damn team. The best player should have the ball in these situations, and you bring it home. And if you get covered and you can get the ball out, then fine. But it's just too hard for us to get the ball in his hands in certain situations. But, I mean, that's my rant, man. They had this game. They blew it, like you said. No more mulligans. You got to win all your home games. And I'm sorry, you may have to win all your road games, too.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Armand. A lot of good things to get into. Yeah, there's no more home losses. You got to beat the Pelicans, who, again, are probably going to come in. And look, nothing's a guarantee, but they're 37-37, so they're just a game back of the Warriors. They play in Portland tomorrow. The Pelicans are probably going to come in at 38-37, to where if they beat the Warriors on Tuesday night, they would be ahead of the Warriors. Minnesota's going and playing in Sacramento tomorrow. And the Kings are going to try and win that one to get themselves into the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. But the Timberwolves have played the Kings well this year. They've won 2 out of 3. So don't be banking on Sacramento automatically handling the Timberwolves. They've been a tough matchup for the Kings in a year where the Kings have beaten a lot of really good teams to the tune of their 45-29 record. But as far as some of the minutia about this one, Draymond, the most frustrating part about the Draymond Green not just holding the ball was the Timberwolves had a foul to give. They could have fouled Draymond and they would have been able to inbound the ball and would have had to have fouled again at that point. And Draymond, prides himself as being the most intelligent player on the floor, and usually he is. And I know that's a hard thing to automatically know in that moment, and so I don't want to be coming down his road as if he should know, but it's just in the long lines of you didn't have to play hot potato with it if you were Draymond Green, because they had to foul you twice, and so he could have been able to tuck it away and try not to do what he did with it. It winds up being in a turnover that flips into the Karl-Anthony Towns 3. Jordan Poole hits the 3, but sometimes the worst thing that can come from a Jordan Poole big 3 is it means he's going to take a bad one. And there were a lot of bad shots tonight for the Warriors top to bottom. The problem I had with that possession where Poole took the step back 28-foot 3 with 38.4 to go, the Warriors up 2, was there was just nothing doing on that entire play. There was no play. It was just Poole ended up with the ball in his hands, and he went, and it was heat check, and if he makes it, it's game over, and if he doesn't, the Timberwolves are going to have a shot to go back the other way and make something happen. So that's frustrating, and I think as far as the decision on, and this wasn't brought up by Armand, but Gary Payton II was back tonight, and Gary Payton II being back meant that the Warriors' rotation was going to change a little bit, and Payton was going to take some minutes from some other players. I think he took some of DiVincenzo's minutes. I think he took some of Jonathan Kuminga's minutes tonight, and the Warriors needed Jordan Poole's offense in this game. He ended up leading them in scoring with 27 points, so he earned the right to be able to finish this game, but it has been a dangerous proposition in some of these games where he's finished, in particular with Steph and with Klay. Those lineups have struggled to defend, and at times those lineups, when Poole is getting his, Klay Thompson may be off the mark, even if he's scoring the ball. And tonight was a night where Klay Thompson, 5 of 11 from 3, didn't make a 2 in this game, finished with 15 points. And so often when Poole's playing a lot and Poole, Curry, and Klay are playing a lot, it seems like Klay is the one guy who winds up not playing well, and the Warriors have the bulk of their problems down the stretch. But again, there's no real case to be made for somebody other than Jordan Poole to be the finishing player in this game tonight because he was the guy that had 27 points. So if you're going to say, hey, Poole struggled, they got to go in a different direction, I think tonight is probably not that night. DiVincenzo didn't do much offensively tonight. Kuminga, I don't think played particularly well aside from the one drive he had for a bucket. And so Kerr rode with that fifth that we talk about. Looney was going to be out there because they were going up against bigs, and so you got to live with the good and the bad from Poole. And tonight, you had the good in the last couple of minutes, but you had some of the bad in the last couple of minutes as well. All right, 888-957-9570. A couple of Adams here. Let's go to Adam in San Jose first on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Adam?
Hey, JD. We can all agree that the last 2 minutes is what causes the game tonight, but my question to you is, how beneficial is Klay Thompson for this team? Besides that 1 month stretch, Klay's been flat out useless. He's making $40 million a year for 15 points a night, and he plays practically no defense. He didn't even try to contest that game-winning shot from Cat. All he wants to do is chuck the ball. I call him Mr. Chuckster. Can we get his play from any random role player? We should really move off of Klay Thompson in the offseason. That's all.
All right, thanks, Adam. I think that's a little harsh on Klay Thompson. I think Klay Thompson was bad the first 2 months. I think he was pretty spectacular for the next 2 months. I think lately it's been more up and down. It's been really more up at home for the most part and down on the road. But tonight, is a night where you need Klay Thompson if he's going to be on the floor, which he always is. A 5 of 17 night ain't going to get it done. I mean, flat out. And I think he has to recognize now some of the nights where maybe if he isn't hot, he winds up taking fewer shots. He is more of a liability defensively. That's just right on the table. But again, good luck trying to trade him. I don't think the Warriors are interested in looking to do that. I mean, we can not necessarily go down that road, but he's making over $40 million, which means he's probably going to be on this team next year. And again, it's kind of like Poole. You take the good, you take the bad, and you got to have to live with it because Klay's going to be out there no matter what at the end of games because he's part of the championship core. So if you can't trust Klay Thompson defensively, then it's probably going to get you beat at some point, and that may just very well be the bed that the Warriors have made, and they have to lay in it. But I think a little harsh on Klay Thompson. It's just a matter of execution, and I think tonight's another example of where the margin for error for this Warriors team is just very different than it's been in the past. They need more guys to play well and click and do it efficiently and also still do it at the end of games for them to earn wins, and it's been a lot more inconsistent. And just when it seems like it's starting to get consistent, the Warriors have one of these, which is just not so much confounding, but frustrating and potentially crushing loss when it's all said and done, given where the Warriors now sit in the standings. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Let's go to, is it Diddle? Diddle in the Bay? Diddle next here on 95.7 The Game.
Yo, how's it going, JD? So I basically was saying we lean towards Jordan Poole in crunch time moments, and he hit some big shots from like the corner three. And then when it comes down to what we need, it seems like we're trying to get it from the core, and the core ain't doing it for us, but they turn over the ball. Their turnovers are like just nothing. But then when somebody like Poole or Kuminga or our youth turn the ball over, it's just like, oh my God, this is so emphasized. Like, what's the problem with that? Like,
well, look, here's the deal. I mean, I think you bring up a fair point, which is it has been the veterans at times that haven't played nearly as well in the clutch moments. I mean, go back to the first road trip of the year, and I think you could make that case. The reality is, though, and this is where a lot of fans come down on this, and it's just fact, the big three can do no wrong. And Draymond's taking his lumps tonight for the hot potato type turnover when all he had to do was hold the ball. Curry's taking his lumps tonight. I mean, I called that out for the botched 3-on-1 and the missed layup on that one. But Poole had a couple of them down the stretch, and it's not the first time that Poole's had a couple of them down the stretch in a game that the Warriors lost. Again, we can all gather around and put it on this guy, put it on that guy, whatever. I mean, I'm the first one to say there was no alternative option for the Warriors down the stretch. I'm not going to be the one that says that DiVincenzo needs to be on the floor at the end of a game where he's got 2 points and Jordan Poole's got 27 and just hit the three to put you up. But Jordan Poole is an imperfect player, and I think the one thing that you hope is that he recognizes to me, it's not even the turnovers as much as it is the shot selection. The one tonight for me is the step back three with 38-4 to go in a game where you're up to like try to make a play, try to give up the rock, try to do something to where you keep the defense moving, and maybe you wind up getting a bucket. Maybe you don't, but to basically give yourself the one option of, hey, make or miss, YOLO. And if it goes in, you're feeling great, and if it doesn't, you're in a potential for something catastrophic to happen. I mean, that ain't it. That ain't it for this team this season. But as far as the blame game, and look, I'm not here to play the blame game, but as far as the blame game goes, the young players always get the blame over the championship core. I mean, that's just the champions have done a lot for the Warriors over the years. And so that's just the way, that's just the way that it goes. Fair or unfair, that's the way that it goes. I've been pretty even-handed about passing some of the blame around with the carelessness and the bad shots. And again, we're talking about the last 3 minutes because the last 3 minutes we all just watched and we're all fired up and passionate about. But the Warriors scored 18 points in the third quarter tonight and got outscored 24-18. They gave up 24 and wound up down 4 going to the fourth quarter. If the Warriors put up 27 in that quarter when they had opportunities early, then we're talking about the Warriors putting the game away, being up maybe close to double digits when Klay Thompson hits his three and when Jordan Poole hits his three that put the Warriors up 1 and 2 respectively. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here. Warriors wrap up on 95-7 the game as the Warriors lose to the Timberwolves 99-96 the final in this one, as the Warriors now 2 games over 500 at 39-37, and so they remain in 6th, but the Timberwolves are now just a half game back. And the other part of this loss for the Warriors is the fact that the Timberwolves now, in all likelihood, will own the tiebreaker over the Warriors. They have a 1-game advantage as far as the conference record goes over the Warriors. They're even in the loss column at this point. And so any loss the rest of the way for the Warriors would be a conference loss. Minnesota has a little bit of breathing room there as far as they go, having the extra game still to be played on this season. But basically tonight was for the tiebreaker. And so the Warriors now don't have the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Timberwolves if it comes down to that 6 versus 7, 7 versus 8, however that winds up shaking out. And just looking at the Timberwolves schedule, they do still have one more game against the Eastern Conference to play with. As far as that, they play at Brooklyn coming up here in about a week and a half. So that game, if they lose it, obviously doesn't carry the weight that a conference loss would for the Timberwolves as far as that goes. All right, back to the phones we go. I want to get to the people. We got Chris in Fremont. Actually, no, let's go to Dan in Berkeley. Sorry, let's go to Dan in Berkeley, who's the longest hold on the board. Apologies, Dan. I want to make sure we get you in here for holding the longest. Thanks for calling in here tonight. What's going on?
First-time caller. Thank you. I enjoyed your program. I want to speak about Jordan Poole. A lot of guys kind of attacking him about his turnovers. But to put in perspective, though, he was giving out a lot of turnovers up until the Mavericks game. He only gave one. And then he only gave one to the 76ers. So I think he had a sit-down chat with the man, Steve Kerr, and maybe they ironed a few things out. But I'm not going to take anything away from him. I think he's improving in that area. So let's give him kudos for that. As far as that tonight's game, 20 seconds left, inbound, Draymond gives it to Curry. Now, the score is 96-95, the Warriors, with 12 seconds left after Curry got the ball. And, he tosses it back to Draymond. That's what I wanted to talk about. Look, these guys are great players. We both know that, right? We know that great players make mistakes. And in the heat of the moment, you and I don't know what it feels like being out there. But for some reason, Curry felt like he needed to give that ball up. And he passed it back to Draymond. They squandered the game. So that's basically what I want to say. The best players in the world make big mistakes, and they made one tonight, and it cost them the game.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a good way of putting it. What I wonder is, in that instance, did Curry know that the Timberwolves had a foul to give and maybe felt a little bit loose with his handle on the ball and kicked it to Draymond, knowing that the Timberwolves had a foul to give, that kicking it to Draymond wasn't going to automatically lead to Draymond shooting free throws. And then Draymond got it back because maybe Draymond didn't realize that the foul at that point wouldn't have put him on the line, because he acted as if he was a player that would have been on the line. But he's also, in fairness, he's trying to get the ball back to the best free throw shooter, maybe one of the best in the history of the game. And so he's trying to do that. And you're right. I mean, you live and die at the end of the day with your best players. And tonight, I don't think there's a case to be made for somebody else to be finishing over Poole. So even Poole gets factored in that. But no doubt, Curry, Draymond, Poole all made mistakes down the stretch. Klay Thompson had a bad shooting night, and the Warriors missed opportunities earlier that could have won them the game. All right, 888-957-9570. Chris in Fremont next now here on 95.7 The Game. Thanks for holding on, Chris. Hey, Chris, you there? No, Chris. Apple in Alameda. What's going on, Apple?
Hey, what's going on? Just to kind of chime in on that last point about Steph, I would say the reason why he gave up the ball is because he uses Draymond as a way to reposition, and they were playing very aggressive defense in the end, playing physical, and fouls weren't really being called with a couple minutes left on the clock there. So I mean, I'm not going to blame Steph for giving up the ball. He uses Draymond to play off of Draymond, so that's a very normal behavior by both those guys. And then, Draymond he made a mistake, threw a pass that was ill-advised. But my point is, I agree with your point, John. Like, I do think that Poole deserved to be there and closing out the game. I don't mind him shooting in the fourth quarter, deep into the fourth quarter. But, man, if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm pulling Jordan Poole to the side, and they're making it very, very clear to him, like, last couple of minutes on the clock, we need to get the ball to Steph. I don't care what kind of night he's having. If you take a look at how the Bulls treated Jordan, he always had the ball in the end, and we need to give Steph that same treatment because he's that caliber of player. So I think Steph needs to close it out at the end of every single game and make it very clear, especially as we're getting closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, well said, Apple. Appreciate it. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up here at 95.7 The Game as the Warriors lose to the Timberwolves 99-96. Yeah, tonight, Poole earned the right to finish. And again, I think that is going to be a night-to-night proposition for Steve Kerr. We saw him finish with Kuminga and DiVincenzo. We saw him finish with Looney and Poole the other night. Tonight it was Looney and Poole, I think, because of the bigs, and that was the case against Philadelphia as well. I think the conversation, though, to go back to Apple's point, needs to be, Jordan, you can take the open shot, but you can't. You got to be more cognizant of the bad shot in those moments where it's basically one play away from trying to put the game away. He went for the dagger in that moment, and the turnovers are kind of the turnovers. And in fairness, on the throwaway from Poole, I mean, that was a miscommunication type play with Steph on a cut, and the ball gets thrown, and Poole wears the turnover on that. But again, late game miscues, late quarter miscues, have been problematic throughout the course of this season for Jordan Poole. So when they pop up and they cost the Warriors a big game, it's obviously going to be something that we're talking about. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. We'll pause here in just a second. Let's go ahead and get to the secret sauce of the game. Win or lose, what was the deciding factor for the Warriors? Secret sauce of the game brought to you by Proposition Chicken. Fried, flipped, fake. This chicken goes 3 ways, now available in 8 Bay Area locations, with the newest one being in Novato. And we've been talking about it here on Warriors Wrap-Up for the last half hour. Warriors lost this game down the stretch. Critical turnovers, bad shots. It really all started with the Curry missed layup with the Warriors up 1 and 2:27 to go. The botched 3-on-1. The missed Jordan Poole heat check 28-footer with the Warriors up 2 after Poole had just made the go-ahead shot to put the Dubs up by a point. Then the Draymond Green turnover that leads to the Karl Anthony Towns 3 when Draymond could have just held on to the ball at that point. And then the miscommunication between Jordan Poole and Steph Curry in the closing seconds there before the Warriors ultimately had a failed 23-foot corner shot from Steph Curry. The secret sauce, the poor execution down the stretch there. Also, the Timberwolves controlled the boards tonight, 49-37 Minnesota, and the Warriors really got hit there. All of the turnovers in the fourth quarter, 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter, leading to 10 Timberwolves points. It had been 12 turnovers for the game going into the fourth for just 8 Minnesota points. And so, yeah, the couple down the stretch there wind up doing the Warriors in. That's the secret sauce of the game, brought to you by Proposition Chicken. All right, we'll pause here. We'll come back. Still got time to take some phone calls. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. We will also hear from Steve Kerr. We will hear from Klay Thompson as well, as the Warriors, they lose a big one tonight here at Chase. Home winning streak is over, and the Timberwolves beat the Dubs tonight 99-96 and 95-7 the game.
Looking for the right senior living situation can be a challenge. Lawton Skilled Nursing and Rehabilitation Center is a 5-star facility named as one of the top skilled nursing facilities by U.S. News & World Report. Visit us at lifegen.net or call 415-566-1200.
Using your phone should never have to be a luxury. Walmart Family Mobile now offers free or discounted plans through the Affordable Connectivity Program. ACP is a government program that helps eligible Americans.
hardest working player of the game, which is coming up here shortly, as Bay Area Panthers football is going to be coming up at the top of the 10 o'clock hour as well here on 95.7 The Game. But I do want to get back to the phones, and Chris in Fremont has rejoined us here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Chris?
Yo, am I all right? So I want to talk about the game tonight.
Yeah.
So I would like to say that I don't think it was Poole's fault at the end of the game. I feel like Steph was cutting, and he kind of clogged up the area. I thought Poole was going to go one-on-one with Mike Conley on him. And I'll take Mike Conley and Poole over a matchup with Jaden McDaniels, because Jaden McDaniels had given Steph a tough night tonight when he was guarding you on the ball. And I feel like Steph kind of cut it, and he pulled back out. So I don't want people to blame the fault on Poole, man, because he's been having a rough season with us, but he's been up and down. I want people to stay try to stay faithful with Poole, man. That's all I want to say, man. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. I think it's more the shot than the pass, because you're right. That was a miscommunication. We've had a few people on the text line mention that as well. But it's the fact that the late game execution has continued to pop up that I think is the issue with those who want to put it on Poole. But look, Poole scored tonight, and scoring's not all of the game, but Poole scored tonight and did it in a more efficient manner than Steph or Clay did, and earned his spot among the finishing five with Kevon Looney. Obviously, Steph and Clay are always going to be out there, and Draymond is going to be out there as well. And, yeah, the Timberwolves do have a lot of length. They have a lot of big bodies, and they are a pretty good defensive team overall. They've got some toughness and some edge to them, and I think they've refined a little bit of how they want to play. I mean, they really made two big trades at the deadline and in the offseason. In the offseason to get Gobert from Utah, and then they wind up getting Conley as they ship out D'Angelo Russell and hand the keys more to Anthony Edwards. And Towns have been out for a good chunk of the year. Kyle Anderson hurt the Warriors tonight. Naz Reid destroyed the Warriors tonight. You're thinking, are there going to be enough minutes for Reid and Gobert and Towns to all play? And Naz Reid, 20 minutes tonight, 23 points. He knocked down 3 threes. The Warriors just never go out and cover Naz Reid on the perimeter. And Reid and Towns both hit the Warriors in a big way from distance in this one. And Mike Conley knocked down some open ones. And all in all, Warriors lose this game by 3. And the Timberwolves hit 2 more three-pointers than the Warriors did. 17 of 40 from Minnesota. Warriors only hit 15 of 40. Some timely ones to hang around at points in which it looked like the Timberwolves were going to gain control of this one. But the Warriors ultimately come up short. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up here on 95.7 The Game. Let's go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, as he met with the media following this one of the more difficult losses, especially on the Chase Center hardwood this season. Here's Steve.
The fatal possession seemed to be that Draymond turnover with 14 seconds left. Was that an example in that situation of kind of like overpassing when Minnesota?
I just thought the final 2 minutes we didn't execute. I thought we had a chance at a layup in transition with about 2 minutes left. I think we had another possession where we turned it over. We just didn't execute down the stretch. So that was just one of many. So we didn't deserve to win. They outplayed us, made the plays down the stretch that they needed to make, and we didn't. So simple as that.
Steve, what hurts the most? You had in the last 40 seconds a 0 pass possession and then 2 turnovers, all in the last 40 seconds when you were down 2.
Yeah, I don't need to rank them. They all hurt. Like, we got to close the game. We got to execute down the stretch, and I got to help them. I got to do a better job myself in helping them to execute. But disappointing because we fought back, gave ourselves a chance to win. Had the ball with the lead late. Like I said, I thought a couple possessions in those last 2 minutes just hurt us, and they hit the big shot.
Is it a concern at all that this is still happening this late in the season, like the poor execution down the stretch?
Of course, it's a concern. I mean, this is you go into late season, into the playoffs. You got to, it's every game's going to be close. So we got to find a way to be better.
Just wondering what you thought of Gary's minutes and where he helped.
He did a great job. Yeah, I mean, he looked good physically. He made some big plays for us. Gary was great.
I think Dante's only taken 3 shots the last 2 games. What do you think about his offense, and do you think that there's any kind of hesitation right now as far as?
No, there's no hesitation. Every game is going to be a little different, and Dante's doing a really good job of defending and moving the ball and just playing his game. There's going to be some games where he gets 8 or 10 threes up, and other games he obviously played fewer minutes tonight, played 20 minutes, but with Gary's return, that cut into Dante's minutes, cut into JK's minutes, and so that's how it's going to be here. We got to figure out rotations and find combinations that fit.
Spotlight will obviously be on the late game, but I think you guys had 18 points in the third, 41 in the second half. Just overall, what was the problem offensively?
A lot of quick, bad shots. Didn't move the ball. There were a ton of 18-foot fadeaway shots with somebody wide open. We didn't make the defense move an extra rotation, 2 extra rotations. So they're a good defensive team. They got size at every position, and if you don't move them around, it's going to be tough. And we didn't move them around. We were all trying to do it on our own out there.
How would you describe this game for Draymond physically? Because he took some hits.
He took some hits. He got hit in the face like 3 different times. Draymond is amazing the way he puts himself on the line night after night. And he got hit several times and, did some amazing things to keep us in the game defensively.
All right, so Steve Kerr tonight, shorter and not so sweet with the breakdown from the head coach of the Warriors, a failure to execute down the stretch, which has been a familiar theme for the Warriors throughout the course of this season, and it has really hurt them in a number of different junctures. A lot of games like tonight where the Warriors seemingly have them in hand or have the potential to steal them, and turnovers, bad shots, it's the same kinds of things. I mean, anytime you have the ball with the lead in that situation where Draymond commits the turnover, that's tough. I mean, the Utah game comes to mind. I mean, this wasn't quite that, up 4 with 13 seconds to go, and you wind up losing the game. But it has been an all too familiar situation for the Warriors to lose leads in the final minute of games where just over the last decade, it just hasn't happened. One quick note, I did see tonight the Warriors lead the NBA, and this is not a pretty note as well. The Warriors lead the NBA in turnovers in the final minute of the game when the game is within 1 possession. So 14 turnovers on the season for the Warriors. That goes to the poor late game execution, which has plagued them and bit them, frankly, tonight. I wanted to touch on what Steve Kerr had to say about Dante DiVincenzo as well. And he was asked, I think it was Dalton Johnson that asked about, is DiVincenzo maybe a little bit tentative? And you look at Dante, only 1 shot attempt in the game tonight. And he finished with 2 points, only played 20 minutes. I've said that Dante DiVincenzo really has benefited and played his best basketball for the Warriors when there's been more put on his plate as opposed to less. When he's been a bit player trying to fit his game, we always talk about that box of trying to fit your game into the box of playing fewer minutes and still being as effective and impactful. He's been somebody that almost has to play 25 plus and has been his most successful when the Warriors have been at their most shorthanded, especially in some of these games where Steph and Wiggins have been out. And so he typically does not take a bad shot because he knows he's on a team with so many other players that can knock down big shots, but he is one of the higher IQ, more intelligent players that the Warriors have on the roster. And so he's somebody that you want to have out there. He's a pretty good on-ball defender. He rebounds well, especially for somebody that's his size. And so he's a guy you want to have out there a lot. But even while praising Gary Payton II, and I thought Gary Payton II was, for the most part, pretty good tonight, more so in the second half stint than he was in the first half stint. And I think around 15 minutes a game is probably what it's going to be. Maybe it gets pushed up to 20 as time goes on here over the final couple of weeks. And if the Warriors get into the elimination games of the play-in tournament or a playoff series, you could bump that up closer to 20. But he was pretty much in that 15 to 17 range last year overall. But Payton coming back is going to take minutes away from other players. And so anytime that happens, there's an adjustment, to the combinations of players that are going to be out there on the floor together. And there's also going to be an adjustment as far as can certain players be effective at the same level that they're effective when they're getting more run while they're getting less run. And DiVincenzo is a player that I worry about in that respect. Kuminga is a player I worry about. And people have kind of come down my road for saying I'm down on Kuminga, and I'm really not to the extent, I'm not at all. But, the reality is, and I've said this, Kuminga played 14 minutes tonight. And whether you think Kuminga should be playing a lot or not, and tonight was not a particularly great Kuminga game. That was 2 consecutive games that weren't. But Payton coming back is going to mean less Kuminga. And that's unfortunate. And you saw the difference from first half to second half. Steve Kerr had Kuminga out on the floor with Gary Payton II at the beginning of the second quarter. Draymond was out there with Poole and Curry, and that lineup got hit -5 immediately, -6 immediately at the beginning of the quarter, and Kuminga was subbed out. Anthony Lamb was subbed in. Now, Lamb didn't do much better, in fairness, with that group, and the Warriors got down 12, wound up closing the half on a 15-1 run, which put the Warriors up 2, and that was really the story of the first half. Bad first 6 minutes of the first 2 quarters, really good last couple of minutes of the first 2 quarters, and then the third quarter, the Warriors just couldn't do anything offensively. But in the second half, Kerr went away from Kuminga and Payton together, and I think, Coach Kerr has said he likes playing Kuminga with other shooters. He likes playing him with Lamb. And I think, trying to figure out how Payton can be his most effective while also getting Kuminga his minutes. And, it's not as clear cut as a lot of people think. And I had a few people tweet at me. I had a couple text messages on the Xfinity mobile text line with, how can Kuminga play less than Anthony Lamb? Kuminga should never play less than Anthony. It's not this. Kuminga is not viewed by the Warriors as a 3. He's viewed as a 4. Well, guess what? Offensively, they view GP2 as a 4. And so at that point, if DiVincenzo's going to be playing some 3 and you want to have Anthony Lamb's shooting out there because Kuminga is not a great shooter and somebody that the teams dare to shoot from the perimeter, then it all adds up to less Kuminga. So the point that I'm getting at is the Warriors have to figure out the right combinations now to get the most out of everybody. Because I'm going to tell you, GP2 is going to play. GP2 is going to play because he's trusted by the veterans. I think DiVincenzo should play. For those calling for, make a change to the starting line, not starting DiVincenzo isn't going to help DiVincenzo at this point with Wiggins out. And, I think Wiggins' void still obviously felt on a night in, night out basis. But, DiVincenzo, I think, is a good player to have out there with Steph and Clay and Draymond and Looney, but they don't view Kuminga as a 3 at all. And so I know Steve Kerr mentioned pregame on Friday, they got to figure out if he can be a 3, but I think any times they've tried to put him in some of those combinations where he's even semi the 3, it just hasn't worked, and they've gone away from it, and they don't trust it, and so you're just not going to see it. But again, big picture is finding the right combinations for all of these players to maximize their production, even though the time on the floor may be a little bit limited. And that, by the way, only gets exacerbated by the return of Wiggins if Wiggins does come back. If Wiggins does come back, then it's going to be even less, for DiVincenzo potentially or for Kuminga at that point. And then the Warriors are going to have to reshift and reevaluate how they go through who's going to play what minutes and with what group. So something that can be a little bit wonky, but something that I'm always paying attention to, and that the Warriors are going to have to figure out without margin of error of losing games. I think part of the story tonight was the Warriors were a little bit out of rhythm because Payton came back, and that changed everybody's rotation. And guys, Moody didn't play tonight. Moses Moody's been playing a few minutes in each half these last 3 games. And, that was an easy one to predict. You can't play everybody, But Payton coming back meant Moody wasn't going to play, and it meant DiVincenzo and Kuminga played less. And so the Warriors, I think, were a little more out of sorts, a little more guardable tonight. And look, if Steph goes out and hits 8 threes, it doesn't matter. If Klay Thompson shoots a higher percentage, it doesn't matter. Hell, if they don't turn the ball over a couple of times and have that, as Monty Poole characterized it, the zero-pass possession. That's a kind way of referring to the Jordan Poole heat check, step back 28-foot three when you're up by 2. The zero-pass possession where the Warriors have to get better and execute at a higher clip. All right, final couple of minutes here. 888-957-9570. Let's get to the hardest working player of the game, which is brought to you by AC Transit.
Curry gets the loose ball rebound. Takes to the front court. Pass to the wing. Payton there. Fires a corner three. Got it! Cuts a Minnesota advantage by a third. Gary Payton II. Everything he's doing tonight has been applauded.
All right, so Gary Payton II, big ovation when he checked in late first quarter, that final defensive possession of the first quarter, and it looked pretty good for Gary Payton II. He looked healthy, which I think is something we're going to have to monitor, and he helped this Warriors team in this game tonight. I mean, they give up 99, and isn't it funny? Warriors give up 99 tonight, but lose. So the defense improved on the night, but if anything, the Warriors still tonight couldn't find enough combinations with quality enough offense to carry them. If you told me that, hey, Warriors are going to give up 99 tonight, I would have thought, wow, they're going to win this game. They're going to win this game at least 100-99. But didn't work out that way. Hardest working player of the game, GP2, brought to you by AC Transit, looking for hard workers and offering a $2,000 bonus for new bus operators and journey-level mechanics to join their team. For complete details and to apply, visit actransit.org/careers. That's actransit.org/careers. Let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes of Gary Payton II as he met with the media downstairs here inside Chase Center.
Gary, feel physically over the course of the game.
Felt like I was out there shorter than I was, but 16 minutes. Felt good, though. There's a lot of gaps in there, so able to get my breath back, after, whistles and calls.
And what hurts most about the way this game was lost?
That we lost. Yeah, I think we, turnovers here and there, they piled up. But, just down the stretch, we had it right there. But like I said, just turnovers, dancing around and stuff like that, just not being on the same page. I think we just lost a possession or two, and I think that eventually ended up being a decider.
I'm sure you imagine what that would be like when you checked in. Did it live up to your expectations?
I didn't have any. I already knew it was love, since I've been back from Dub Nation. So, that's just a nice welcome home. But, I mess with Dub Nation like that, so it's all love.
I know you said you feel as good as you felt all season. Where does that translate in your game? Where do you feel better out there than you did maybe, a couple months ago?
No, I just feel like myself. I can move around, do what I need to do. So as long as I feel like myself, it's just normal.
There have been some, like Dante's a new player. There's a couple of new players or people who you weren't playing with before when you were on the team. Did it feel any different for you, like being on the floor with Dante or anyone else, or did it feel the same like when you were here before?
No, I've had multiple teammates, throughout my career. So I've been watching how they play and whatnot. So, come in and let Dante's easy. He checked in. We checked in for a second and he was like, what you want to do? Full court? I said, absolutely. So, just that energy right there alone, I already know what he's on and he know what I'm on. So it's not hard to, get adjusted.
All right. So Gary Payton II, he said yesterday it's going to be like riding a bike. He's not worried at all about his ability to fit in with this Warriors team down the stretch here, and now just 6 games to go for the Warriors, and so they dipped to 39-37 on the year, so 76 in the books, just 6 games to go for the Warriors, and they're going to have 3 home and 3 away at this point. They've got the next 2 at home, Pelicans, that's a big one on Tuesday night, then the Spurs on Friday. They go to Denver, come back to wrap up the home slate with Oklahoma City, and then go to Sacramento and Portland to end the season. 2 weeks from today will be the final game of the regular season. All right, before we get out of here, let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes of Klay Thompson. As always, fun when he meets with the media post-game, and Klay didn't hold back. Here's Klay.
Obviously, you guys had a chance to win, couldn't pull it off. But what about the way this game ended bothers you the most, maybe?
I don't think anything really bothered me. I just think we just let one slip away, and that happens sometimes. But we've been so great here at home this year that we just had an off night, all of us, except for JP, who played very well.
You guys only scored 41 in the second half. Just what couldn't you get going offensively?
I didn't take very good shots to start the second half, and I think we just didn't get into a great rhythm. I mean, give them credit. They're big, they're large inside, and they were doing everything they could to run us off the free-point line, and I didn't get in a great rhythm, especially inside the arc. I missed all my 2-pointers, so I'll be better Tuesday.
We all know the history of this team. Are you surprised that this deep into the season, there's still an execution problem at times?
No, it's basketball, man. It's hard. It's really hard. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. Really hard.
Hey Clay, what was it like to have Gary back out there? Did it kind of feel like old times? I don't know how much time you guys are out there together, but yeah.
Oh man, it was great having Gary back. I was really happy the ovation he got because he earned it. He was a huge part of what we did last year and why we were the champs. And I know he will be again this year because he's such a great player and he's so good around the rim. He's so good on defense, and he's just going to be a huge asset for us going forward.
I want to ask you specifically about the play that you found him cutting. I guess kind of take me through that play a little bit, and then also just how big a dimension is that he brings, the way he can kind of cut baseline.
Yeah. Well, I drove right, and he was wide open, so I made a simple bounce pass, and Gary's a great cutter. He's a great rebounder. He just does all the little things that you take for granted. I thought he was great tonight. I mean, he hasn't played in so long. To be as sharp as he was impressive, and I just know he's going to add so much value to this team going forward.
And Clay, Jordan's had some high-profile mistakes in the last, minute of games and stuff. What gives you confidence that, he'll be able to bounce back from this and, keep helping contribute to you guys?
Right there. He was a huge part of that. And people tend to forget that. So right there.
So Klay Thompson, for those of you that are wondering what right there was, they pointed to the backdrop, which has the 2022 NBA Champions logo on it, and that's what right there was. He was a big contributor to that. So Klay's not worried because Jordan was part of the championship run from last year. And Klay also quick to point out that Jordan played pretty well on a night where he and Steph and others didn't shoot it well, called it an off night, owned up himself to not taking good shots in the second half. And so we'll see. I think when Poole and Steph have been out there together, Klay has had a tendency to struggle a little bit more getting into that rhythm and finding the right shots to take. I praised him for not taking as many these last few games. Tonight, missing all the twos. We pointed that out early. He was cognizant of that. But I think, again, you're ride or die with Klay Thompson at this point between now and the end of the season. All right, that'll do it. We got to get out. I'm John Dickinson. Thanks to Sterling Bennett and everybody in our San Francisco studios as the Warriors drop a tough one. Back in action Tuesday here at Chase, 6 o'clock for Warriors Live. It's the Dubs and the Pelicans, and that is a big one with the Warriors now clinging to the 6th seed in the Western Conference playoff race. 6 o'clock for Warriors Live. Bay Area Panthers football is coming up next. Timberwolves beat the Warriors tonight 99-96, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game. Good night.
From carriage house to glass aluminum doors, R&S Doors has a full line of commercial and residential garage doors and gates to suit anyone's taste and budget. Visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app